Did you know that the Vatican is hiding tens of thousands of ancient holy manuscripts from humanity? They have cellars underneath the Vatican that stretch out for miles and miles, and they are stacked full of holy books that they don't want the world to know about. It's much like the Smithsonian Museum. We all know the movie The Night at the Museum, but what we don't know is that they are showing the truth. There are effectively huge, vast cellars underneath the Smithsonian, where the actual history is being hidden. For example, the discoveries of giants that were encountered by the pioneers who came in America. Very advanced civilizations, creatures and beings that they want you to know exist. It's all being tucked away nicely in the cellars of the Smithsonian. But in the Vatican, that's where I want to talk about. You know, the Apostle Paul in the scriptures, he says some strange things. He says things like, don't you know that we will judge angels and powers of the world? How would we know that, Apostle Paul? Nobody told us that. It's not in the Bible. What are you referring to? What knowledge did Paul have that Christians don't have? Don't you know that we will judge angels and powers of the world? What is he talking about? Where did he get this information from? The Apostle John said the world would be too small if everything Jesus Christ has said and done would be written down in books. Why do we only have one book, the Bible, if John said that what Jesus has done doesn't even fit in books that can fill the entire world? You know, in the Bible there is a mentioning of this prophet, ancient prophet called Enoch. Enoch is described as being the number one authority in the spirit. He walked so closely with God that he never died, but he was taken up by God himself. That's how closely he walked with the Almighty. And when you read the Bible and then you read the book of Enoch, then we see that Enoch goes into much greater detail about many things that the Bible only briefly hints at. For example, in Genesis 6, there is this one verse where is spoken about sons of God, angels, who came down on earth and they had sex with beautiful women, and from there came forth the Nephilim, giants who were so perverse and wicked that they started eating humanity, and they demanded a child sacrifice, and they needed to drink the blood of humans to sustain themselves. Well, in Genesis it's only very briefly, superficially mentioned, leaving you with nothing but questions without any answer. But if you then read the book of Enoch, it's explained in great detail who these angels were, what they did, how God is going to punish them, how they are the origin of what we call evil spirits or demons that now torture humanity. There's a lot of information about that in the book of Enoch. This is an example of how, Christians have been taught there's only the Bible and nothing more. And I understand that. Basically we have enough with the Bible because it contains so much, and the vast majority of Christians don't even read the Bible. So why would they need anything else if they don't even have the basics, in order? And that is very true. And if they read the Bible, they completely misunderstand it. They abuse the Bible to fit in their modern day popular mainstream Christian beliefs like a rapture or the return of Christ, while the actual Bible says no such thing, not in the way that we've been taught. So people don't even know how to read the Bible respectfully. For example, Jesus Christ continually said, and the apostles likewise, they continually stressed that the coming of Jesus on the clouds was to judge Israel during the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple, and that all the people alive at that time, they would see Jesus coming on the clouds. That's why it was the daily expectation of the early church. Well, in our time, that biblical audience, the biblical historical context, the biblical time frame for the coming of Jesus on the clouds is completely being disregarded, it's being denied, and single verses that are even mistranslated, are taken out of context, are completely abused and manipulated and twisted to create a false story that every Christian believes, that we are going to see the return of Jesus and he's going to fix everything in the world just like that. And what it does, it disempowers the church. Instead of calling us to be those who transform society, being those who heal humanity, being those who cast out evil, being those who restore all of creation, being those who carry the authority of the Most High God, who reign with Christ, who establish justice in society, who execute judgment on the wicked. Instead of all that, Christians are being told by this false story about the return of Christ, no, Jesus will return and then he will fix everything and you don't have to do anything. So that's an example of how Christians in our day are being completely deceived by abuse of Scripture, denying the biblical context, denying the biblical source text. What do certain words mean in the Greek or the Hebrew? Denying the biblical time frames, denying the biblical audience to whom was something said, who were the people who would experience some certain events, etc., etc. You know, Christians in our time are trained to be Bible abusers, Bible twisters, Bible manipulators. Just take any verse you want out of context and abuse it in such a way that it fits your popular mainstream narrative that you have been taught by the church, that gives us a good feeling that Jesus will return and fix everything and all will be a paradise just like that, without our involvement, without our obedience, without us growing up as mature sons of God, without us being the vessels of Christ, his body through whom he works. No, none of that. We just have to sit and wait for the rapture. So anyway, people can say, yeah, we have enough with the Bible, and that is true. But there is a time, if you are a serious student of Scripture, if you are one who walks in the Spirit, if you truly have a relationship with God and you want to restore the world, then you need some more understanding at certain points. And I believe that that is where the hidden books in the Vatican come into play. There's a reason why the Satanists, because the Vatican is the center of global Satanism. The Jesuits are the fathers of Luciferianism, okay? They call themselves Jesuits, friends of Jesus, to hide who they truly are. It's like the World Health Organization. Their mission is to reduce the world population, to enslave humanity. So they call themselves World Health Organization. And they use that to mandate lethal injections into the human race so that everybody would be weakened or even killed, so they can rule over them. Okay, so evil always masquerades behind a mask of they show that they are beautiful and good to hide who they truly are. And that's the issue with the Vatican. They are the center of global Satanism. They are the ones who have been ruling the world, you know, like the mafia on steroids. Let's put it that way. But anyway, why are they hiding those manuscripts? I believe that there are truths, insights, secrets, keys for human health, for human breakthrough, for human empowerment, for humans to experience more of God in this world, for humans to access the heavenly realms of glory, for humans to become more effective, for humans to have more clarity and understanding. I believe that there is a lot of truth that has been hidden from the human race. And we are now in the era of truth, where everything is coming out. And I want to encourage all of you to have an open heart. Don't accept anything. You know, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of occult knowledge that God doesn't want us to know. He says, that's my dimension. You have no business with that. You stick to what has been revealed to you. Okay. But a lot of what has been revealed to man has now been hidden from man. So, you know, what is the point? The point is that there are truths about free energy. There are truths about the realm we live in, the earth. There are truths about who we are as humans, about how our spiritual makeup, about how to communicate in the spirit, how to heal our nations, how to discern in the spirit realm and cast out darkness. Empowering truths that are being hidden. And I believe that we are going to enter an era where the veil will be increasingly lifted and humanity will have the opportunity to rediscover the treasures that the Almighty has in store for us. I want to encourage you to have an open heart for that. There's a lot that's being hidden. Have you heard about Admiral Byrd? Admiral Byrd is the real world Indiana Jones. This explorer. He was on a mission sent by the US government in the 1950s to explore Antarctica. He came back and he said that there are vast continents behind the ice wall with tremendous riches and with enormous resources. Other continents, more continents on the earth. He was killed right after that. He was found dead at 65 years old. He was as strong, as healthy as can be. And the Antarctic Treaty was signed by every nation in the world, making the Antarctic forbidden territory for humanity. Nobody is allowed to access deeper into that realm. Wow. That's an example of how they are hiding stuff. And then NASA was created, and right after Admiral Byrd came forth and he revealed that there are more continents on Earth. NASA was immediately set up after that, and they started creating these globe marble pictures that are computer generated images. There is no such thing as a blue marble. It doesn't exist. All the videos you see are computer generated. Everything that Elon Musk is showing you. I love Elon Musk. He does a lot of good things, but I'm curious what his agenda is with this bullshit about Mars, because I've come to the discovery that nothing we've been told about space is true. Nothing we've been told about the Earth is true. Nothing we've been told about what's out there is true. It's all a big Disney fairy tale, and Walt Disney was one of the founders of NASA. And NASA has huge filming studios that they use to create their productions to fool the world. And they've been hiding the continents. But that means that the Earth that we are being shown is inaccurate. Where are the other continents? And then you have Mercator, the original cartographer who made the first maps of the world. He showed that around the North Pole there are 4 islands and a black rock in the middle. What the freaking heck is that all about? And why has that been hidden on all modern day maps of the world? Why is Google Maps not showing the 4 islands on the North Pole with the huge black rock in the middle? And why is the company that owns everything in the world BlackRock? Why is it called BlackRock? That's interesting. The center of the world is a huge magnetic black rock that reaches to the heavens. While is the company or the corporation that owns everything in the world called BlackRock? What do they know that you don't? What are they hiding from you? And there's so much. I am telling you, we are about to enter an era where truth is going to be revealed and our minds will be blown. If you're ruled by pride, then you will miss out. If you are ruled by fear, then you will miss out. Many people are afraid to learn new things because if your security is in what you know, then you will never grow. If you can let go, then you can receive. It's very important that we are able to let go of what we know so that we can grow. That is an amazing key. So guys, I believe that we are in for an incredible ride with humanity in the coming decades, where things will be revealed. Those thousands or tens of thousands of ancient holy manuscripts that are hidden underneath the Vatican, they will be revealed. It will be returned. I don't know when. I believe that the hidden continents will be revealed. I believe that the truth about what is the moon actually? If the moon is that far away, how on earth is it possible that we see it so crisp, crystal, tack sharp, which is utterly ridiculous? It's impossible for something to be so distant and we can see it so detailed. And even with a cheap camera, you can get very sharp images of the moon. If it was as far as they say, that wouldn't be possible. Just very simple things like that. Stuff is going to be revealed. Everything is different than what we've been taught. And the reason they've been hiding the truth is to hide the Creator, hide who we are, so that we could be enslaved very easily. But it's time to rise and reign. It's time to become those who don't wait for Jesus to return and fix everything, but those who live with Jesus right here and who are the vessels of restoration for all of creation. That is what the true message of the scriptures is. I'm writing a book about this that will blow your mind. My goal is to undo the mind control operation of the Rothschilds that has been done in this world, where the Rothschilds have hijacked Christianity in the 19th century. They've turned Christians from being those who abolished public slavery, public human sacrifice, those who were the bedrock of real science, healthcare. They built the first hospitals, the first schools. They put an end to the demon worship in society. Christians used to be the most powerful force of transformation everywhere they came on earth. The Rothschilds came in. They hijacked the church. They turned Christians into the least effective, the least involved, the most irrelevant people in the world. They completely turned the church around from being those who reign and heal humanity to those who sit and wait for Christ to return. These hijacking operations will be undone. We are here as the children of the Most High God to be the light of the world, to be those who reign with Christ, to be the dragon slayers, to be those who cast out demons, to be those who bring deliverance to the human race, to be those who establish justice, who execute judgment over the wicked, just as Paul said. Don't you know that you will judge angels and powers of the world? There's so much that will be revealed. The sons of God are to be the most powerful in the world, not the least powerful. If you're curious to learn more, then follow me here on X.